here to answer your questions about classic minis, about life, about anything. I think we're going to have a really good time tonight.
I always try and say, don't I, that my channel is about getting rid of the black art of working on minis.
For me, getting into minis, it was I had a newer mini. 2007 was one of the BMW minis. It was a Cooper S, and I found out about classics. I'm like, you know what? That's what I want. That's what I want.
There you are now. Hello, everybody.
Amazing.
How did I get into minis? It's something that just kind of happened from just one really good friend of mine asked me to build them, and I said, yeah, I'm doing nothing this weekend, I'll do that.
Man, it's funny how quickly things can change.
It's awesome to have so much really good fun chat with you all. And
yep, that's the best part. I'd really like to make this a regular thing.
Thank you to everybody again, and thanks for tuning in.
Thanks, everyone, and you know the drill. Enjoy those minis.
See you guys on the next one.
Alrighty, I think we're live.
Hello.
How is everybody doing today?
Hello, all of our phenomenal YouTube compatriots. Thank you for all the awesome loveliness in the private messages where people were saying they were looking forward to seeing us back live again. Thank you very much. We had a little bit of a break there for Christmas. I think we deserve it every now and then. But yeah, I'm excited to be back and chatting with all you.
Wait a minute, you got private messages? Nobody was nice to me. Everybody, it must just be you. They just like you.
Well, thank you to all the private messengers who private messaged me, and not Cole. Oh, you're that side. Yeah. I wonder, can we do this? I wanted to do this for a while. Can we do the ET maneuver? Yeah. Oh. Boop.
Oh, there we go.
Oh, what we need, right? What we need is you need to have a component, right? And I need to be
yes. Oh God, I don't have a clutch. Wait.
Oh, right now. All right. Ready?
All right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ready. Okay. So you've got to be up over there. Ready?
Yeah.
There you go. It's coming to America.
Just let me grab
is it?
this.
Oh, there you go.
Weird.
Yeah.
It got smaller in transit.
It changed. No, it went imperial. That's what it was.
Oh, that's what it was.
I posted it to you metric, and it turned into imperial.
Yeah, well, that happens sometimes. Customs are weird.
Yeah. Well, I was just going to say it's just because all you Yanks are backwards, but
yeah. Well, I'm not going to argue.
I don't want to ruin, a third of your audience or whatever it is. But
yeah, weird. Our live stream count is just going down really quick all of a sudden.
I have no idea why that is. Oh, yeah. Alrighty, good to see everybody. Yeah, so we've got a really exciting show. I'm really looking forward to this. We've got some really interesting topics. Mainly, all of them are yours.
Yeah. No. There's one in there that is about you.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
For all those lovely people that are out there wondering what we're shitting on about here, the week leading up to this, Cole was like, Paul, I'm thinking we'll talk about this topic and this topic and this. And I'm like, yeah. Well, I've got some real good topics that I'm thinking should we talk about as well. And 10 minutes ago, Cole sent me his list of topics. And I was like, oh, yeah, that covers all the bases. We'll talk about just them. So
That's good. Great one, Cole. Great one.
Oh, this is nice. Yeah, you've got
bringing me back. It's bringing me back to my group projects in high school. It's kind of hurting a little. Who's that guy that's doing all the list, and then all of a sudden the other guy comes in and gets the credit.
Yeah,
and you get the private messages.
Yeah, I get private messages. I've got the A+ grade. Everybody just thinks, yeah, Paul kills it, doesn't he? He really does. Little does everybody know I'm literally held up on this pedestal by everybody else. It's just, I do not deserve to be standing here at all. It's not even good looks. There isn't even good looks involved. I'm just really manipulative, really. That's what it is. I'm just trying to get everyone else to do my shit.
Charismatic. It's not manipulative. It's charismatic.
Oh, I like it. Yeah, that's nice. Yes, I'm very charismatic. I like it. So,
Well,
how was your
before-
Christmas, Mr. Cole?
Well, it was wonderful. Yeah. Lots of rest. As you probably have seen, not a ton of videos came out over the holidays, and that was intentional, like you mentioned before.
Yeah.
Had a little bit of a rest, visited family, went up to the mountains. And for those of you who probably saw my most recent video, I did get a mountain bike for Christmas, and I have been out on the trails basically every single day, aside from when it's really rainy, because the rules in the US might be a little bit different there, I think. Are don't go out on the trails if it rained 24 hours or less in the past. But yeah.
Really?
How about you?
That'd just mean no one ever went mountain biking in Ireland.
Yeah.
Here they go. Don't go out on the trails if there is a force 12 wind or lightning is hitting the ground. Otherwise, have at it, boys.
Have at it. So, question then for the topsoil in Ireland. So in Charlotte, in the kind of North Carolina area that I'm in, the top layer of soil is basically like 1,000% clay. And I think that's why they make us not go out, because it's just miserable. It erodes and all this stuff. But like, you guys have really good soil there, don't you? I mean, I think that's.
Yeah, so we get a mixture here, especially in Ireland, that we have a lot of gravel, but it's like stony.
Yeah,
like they're big sized. Like, at the top of the trail, we can have stones like that are almost sort of like an inch in diameter or somewhere around that.
Wow.
We have clay. There's clay as well, and there's sand in the topsoil. But we have a stuff. I don't know if you guys get this, but it's called I think it's kind of universal in mountain biking terms, but loam.
Loam.
You guys get loam?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
We get a lot of loam in our forests. So
yes.
And they it blows onto the trail kind of day by day. So like you could ride the trail today and it might be lovely, and then tomorrow it would be like, whoo, this is slippy.
Yep. It's not so much here in Charlotte, but in the foothills, but up towards the mountains and in the mountains and proper forest, we get a lot of loam. From my understanding, if I am understanding what it is correctly, I think I do. But yeah, what do y'all do for Christmas?
What did we do for Christmas? We took a break, I think, for a couple of days, all right, which was pretty much, we had our parents around for Christmas dinner, which was a lovely, real nice, family occasion. We cooked a big, massive dinner and we had that. And then we had some friends over that were on holidays, staying with us. So, yeah, we kind of showed them the sights and did a few bits and bobs and played, Christmas games with those cards and all that sort of stuff. So it was lovely. It was really nice and relaxing. This year it felt really short, though, which is weird because Christmas to me normally feels really long. But this year it just felt really condensed and short. I think it's because it fell on a weekend. I think that's probably what it is.
Yeah, normally it's like it's padded on top of a weekend, so you have the normal weekend time and then extra. Yeah, and I think a lot of people, I don't know, it was this way for me. Like, you've been kind of pent up with all of the COVID stuff and seeing all these people. It feels like the first time in months and months and months, assuming you like your family, which I do. It was
handy
nice
that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the truth. All right, so I suppose we'll jump into. I just want to say, by the way, thank you to Colleen, your beautiful, beautiful mother, who said she likes my hair.
Yes.
Colleen, the truth is, lovey, I need a haircut really badly, and I'm being really lazy about getting a cut. So people can date all my videos by the length of my hair, I think, But anyway, hey, there you go.
Yeah, I have the same problem.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, I can see that. Yeah. Yours just flies out. Yeah. How do you keep it like that? I don't know how you do it. Is it just like a kind of a one swoop? Is that the way you just say?
Yeah. And I'm done. That's it.
Nice. All right.
It's actually quite nice.
Good God. Yeah. I bet all 14 minutes in, and we haven't talked about one mini thing. I bet all of you lovely people out there are so happy you tuned in this evening.
Yeah,
We're just
thanks for
talking-
coming. We're just going to
Yeah.
talk about the weather and mountain
Look,
biking.
just so you know, you tuned into a video called Let's Talk Shit with Paul and
Yes.
Co. We are just fulfilling that part of our brief. That's all
Yeah.
we're doing.
It's the quota.
yeah. I think this is an ample amount of shit now. Shall we move on?
Well, I had a few topics that you
Yeah.
now have a lot of topics. And
Yeah.
do you want to start?
I now have... No, you go.
Okay, I'll go. Well, kind of the first thing I wanted to talk about was some of the kind of newer things that I've been seeing in the mini community as Paul's scrolling the list to see which one I'm going to choose. And one of the things that's been really cool that I've started seeing more towards the last 2 years, especially in the last like 6 to 8 months, is what I'm kind of dubbing as OEM plus parts. Where there have always been kind of like good replacement parts that you could get for the Mini. You know, some are better, some are really good, some are the illusion of good. But these days, it seems like there are more that are coming out that are actually like in the whole purpose of them is to replace the parts that are no longer available. And I'm going to pop something up on the screen here. And while I do that, if you have any thoughts on that.
Yeah, OEM Plus is something that I've been watching develop kind of as well over the last while, which, you know, it's a very interesting part of the scene. And I think it's fantastic. I think it's probably one of the few marks of a vehicle out there where there is as much OEM Plus development as there is. And it's really wonderful to see. And it's obviously driven by the amount of people who want to work on their cars and improve them, which the Mini seems to be almost synonymous with that. I mean, that's not to say that people don't do that with other marks of car. They do, but I think it's just really, really big in the Mini community, and I think it's great to see it. It's great to see so much improvement happening.
What's interesting is that concept of improvement. I think what you've hit the nail on the head is like the Mini fits this perfect spot of being like the kind of original parts, and the current state of those original parts is starting to either was never very good or is starting to get even worse and like less, attainable. Like these things that are up on the screen right now are from MED. They recently announced these, and I think they're released now, and they are output covers for the differential housing. And this is just a standard part that has been replaced with a fully alloy part, machined and tailored to be the same spec as the original. And these parts used to be, you could just walk down the street in the UK, really, for sure, and like get these anywhere. But now it's like they aren't becoming available. The ones that are available are broken and chipped and stuff, and that fills this void.
It's fantastic. And I think this also this is probably a nuance of a Mini as well. I think you hit the point really well when you said that some of the stuff at the start was pretty damn terrible. Minis, in fairness, through their whole life have been very much like that. I remember reading one of the very early prints, I think, of David Vizard's How to Tune the A-Series engine, and he was talking about a time when him and another British tuner, it could have been somebody like Dave Anton or somebody like that, were kind of having a conversation, and the other guy basically turned to David and said, you could really do anything to one of these cylinder heads and it'll be an improvement. He said, you don't actually have to be a wizard, and I think he was kind of referring to the fact that, there was guys over your side of the water who are working on, Chevy heads or something like that. And they were thinking, wow, we spent, months of development trying to get 3 or 4 more horsepower. And these guys half grind out a cylinder head and suddenly get 10 horsepower. What the hell? Yeah. I think Dave was kind of saying it's not so much that you guys are brilliant porters. It's that the item you started with was horrific.
Well, it served a purpose, that's for sure. It served a purpose of being kind of, and they were kind of, we were looking at a car that was really focused as a budget car, I mean, like people bought this to be a point A to point B vehicle, very small, easy to get parts for, but the trade-off of that is that it's not as reliable, and corners were cut where they could be.
It's a really good point. Like people have been, well, recently I started doing a good few kind of shorts. You guys probably noticed that, and I've been putting out shorts, and they're all just like little things that you can do to tune up your, a component. And that's kind of what I've been primarily kind of looking at. Like, this is just a component, and you can tune this up by doing this, this, and this. And I got a private message a while ago, and they were like, Jesus, like, how could you need to do all these things? And I was like, well, the truth is you could get away perfectly fine without doing any of them, and it'll work probably just fine. What I'm showing you is how to make it absolutely perfect. It wasn't perfect from the factory, and this is where tolerance comes in. They designed minis with really broad tolerances, I think is a nice way to describe it. Yeah, they were forgiving tolerances, I think is the term.
There we go.
They were very forgiving. I remember actually reading a very early BMC workshop manual, and I remember I had just finished serving my time as a plant fitter for Caterpillar, actually, and we were like told, a piston ring gap 1,000 to 1.5 thousandths, and then I like opened up the BMC manual, and it was like, piston ring gaps anywhere between 2 and 8 thousandths is fine.
Like
this measurement, like,
by comparison, a literal canyon.
It was like a half a thousand. It was like a half a thousandths. They gave a measurement, like they said, the piston ring gap should be like, whatever it was. I can't remember what it was, but like, say, just pick an arbitrary, like 10 thousandths. And, as I said, for Caterpillar, it was like 10 thousandths plus or minus 1/2 thousandths. And then BMC's one was like, yeah, it should be 10 thousandths. But I mean, if it's 11 thousandths, 12 thousandths, or 8 thousandths, it'll be fine. It'll run away.
It's fine.
It won't run great, but it won't run great anyway. So...
Well, so that's an interesting thing, because those tolerances, I think I've noticed this kind of nitpicky behavior on some of my videos recently, not trying to call anybody out, but it is definitely a trend that has started to get more and more prevalent, either as my channel's gotten older, or maybe it's just as trends change in the kind of internet community. But when I first started videos, people were kind of like constructive. They wanted to help. They would say, okay, that tolerance should be this, but it's not such a big deal, things like that. And now people will go through videos and like try and find the exact individual tolerances that I've like maybe messed up and mentioned something or something. Like,
yep,
exactly.
I get that. I do get that. Yeah, I see that. And I think as well, I think a lot of people don't realize two things. I think one, they don't realize that for most of the time, I know about you, but like for me, I talk off the top of my head a lot, like, because I'm not a kind of guy who researches my videos. Like, I don't spend days and days coming up with a script, like, to make sure that my videos go out, perfect. I come down to the workshop, I bring everybody down with me, and I say, look, I'm doing this job here, and this is the numbers. And if I'm looking for something, or I'm looking for a tolerance, of course I look the book figure up and I set it to it. But if I'm chatting to the camera like you do, I mean, we're talking off the bat. But I also think, I think people get hung up on it. I get hung up on it too much. And that's not to say that tolerances aren't important. Of course they are. But you need to not get too hung up on them. Like I think when we get back to the exact topic that you wanted to talk about, which is the OEM plus. Yes, as OEM plus stuff starts to come on the market, tolerances are going to get more important, because if they're being made to a tighter tolerance, then other components are affected by that.
That's a good point.
If you've got 3 things and 2 of those are loose and sloppy and one of them's dead tight, well, I mean, the pinch point is going to be that dead tight point. You know what I mean? I know one of the big gear manufacturers, I won't mention them, but they're one of the big gear manufacturers in the UK, got really caught with this, with crown wheel and pinions about 10 years ago. They were making crown wheel and pinions, and every time you put one of these crown wheel and pinions into a mini gearbox, it would like lock up 1/3 of the way around.
Yes, I know exactly what you're talking about. This happened to me.
Oh. Yeah, you got this, right?
Yes,
And
yeah.
it took me a while to figure out what it was. And I eventually triggered it and figured out what it is. It was run out in the actual uh, differential housing, or well, not the differential housing, but the actual the planetary housing, I suppose you'd call it. There was literally, run out in
Really?
that where the two came together. And yeah, that run out. And also, don't forget, in the main shaft of the mini gearbox, the actual main shaft itself had run out in it. Like, 2,500 or 1,000, which is nothing by comparison in a mini gearbox. And how BMC got away with that was easy. Their gear mesh, they just allowed an extra 1,500 in their gear mesh and made the gear out of slightly harder steel. So it could deal with being in mesh this much or in mesh this much, and it wasn't really going to be a problem. But of course, the big major gear manufacturer was like trying to make the strongest gear they could. So they made everything in like super tight mesh, and we're like, oh, we'll go to 500,000. So you get this kind of locking up,
And that's crazy. And that was them going out of their way to do something correctly
Exactly.
and getting bit by doing it correctly. Not to say that you should do something wrong, but
but if they made a shitter part, it would work. It would seem to work better. Which seems mental, right?
Yeah, it does. You just got to make it shitter in a specific way.
And then it'll be great, But yeah, like, I mean, I've talked to good people, like recently, okay, I'm going to kind of bring this next. This is a topic that I'm going to talk to you about, and that is the quality of reproduced parts that we're getting now. And I had a really interesting feedback recently. So I did like a couple of YouTube shorts on oil pumps, and I was like, I took a brand new oil pump out of its packet, and I went through like all the measurements you should check, and like 3 or 4 of those measurements were outside the factory tolerances in a brand new oil pump. And I got a lot of feedback through a couple of different social media channels that I put those videos out on, and that feedback was all like, how can people get away with making this stuff? Why are people putting out this shit? Why is this on the market? Or have you bought the cheapest pump that's possible to buy? Or, that kind of feedback. And the truth is that I imagine there isn't that many mini oil pumps being produced every year. Like maybe thousands. I mean, there's not hundreds of thousands being made anymore. There's no way. So maybe tens of thousands. I don't even know if it is. Maybe it is tens of thousands, but it can't be much more than that. So, I mean, if you go to manufacturers of oil pumps and say, I want to put a big order in next year of 10,000, and they're like, yeah, well, we just got an order from Toyota for 3 million. So,
we'll fit that in sometime. Sure, whatever, guy.
Yeah, we're going to get all tooled up to make your 10,000 oil pumps, like, or whatever it is. And I think that's also where OEM Plus, as you said, is going to start to fit into this. I can see a big trend starting to form in minis where there's going to be a split, I think. There's going to be a cohort of people that are going to want really high quality components, and they're going to prepare to pay for it. And then there's going to be another cohort of people who are going to want good components at a good price. And there's actually probably 3. There's then going to be the kind of, low-hanging fruit people that just want to keep their mini running and keep it on the road, and they're just going to buy stuff off. Yeah, they're going to just buy stuff off the shelf. So yeah, I think there is going to be that kind of 3 different kind of major, because you can see it now, right? I mean, you can see where people are like, oh, why doesn't someone just make? Somebody recently was in asking me about window wiper motors. And they were saying to me,
that'd be a good one.
Yeah, they were like, and he talked to me about his one, and I was like, look, that's really common. I've taken brand new ones out of the box that blow up within 3 wipes of the screen, or blah 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 blah. And he was like, why doesn't somebody just make a really good wiper motor and market it for the mini? I'd literally pay whatever it costs just to have a good wiper motor, And I mean, he wasn't saying he was going to land me a check of £1,000 for a good wiper motor, but like he was saying, like, if it was $100 for a good wiper motor versus like $25 for a wiper motor, he was like, I'll happily pay that. And if you really squeeze me for another $50, but tell me like, look, we put good bearings in there, and it's going to last 4 years, he'd be like, I could muster it, like I could do it. And I got to thinking myself, I would as well. I absolutely would. Like it.
Absolutely.
Wouldn't you? Like, Because
did.
for us, it's a fit and forget item, right?
Yep, and that's exactly why I'm willing to pay. See that, so I'm all about the long-term cost of owning something, and
Yeah.
I think that I think a lot of people would be as well if they looked at that long-term cost. And so, perfect example to me is the no maintenance ball joints that are being sold by Classic Mini Japan. I have a set of those on my car, and they genuinely were install done. Forget about it. You're finished. And they have
Fantastic.
been ultra reliable. They've been on the car. I've driven probably on those ball joints. I've probably put 5 to 8,000 miles on them, and they are just as tight as they were when I put them on there. And they were more expensive to get from the beginning, but that cost over time, I would have bought in that same time period, because I do drive my Mini quite hard. I would have probably gone through at least 2 sets of ball joints, at least on the upper or the lower. Usually the lowers are what are going sooner for me, and like it adds up. And if those last me for 5 years, I'm broken even. Easy.
Completely agree. But it's even the pain, right? I mean,
Yes.
you know what it's like to have to change one of these bloody ball joints, like, and
Oh,
if you could, if you're saving yourself that pain, oh man, like, I mean, the cost of labor is through the roof now. Like, if you were paying a mini mechanic like me to put ball joints on your car, just think about it. Like, if you can get, okay, it costs maybe 25% extra for those fit and forget ones. But I mean, if you're going to do the other ones 3 times in that period, it's a no-brainer. Like, it's a no-brainer. Your car's on the road for longer. It's more reliable. Yeah. So I definitely think OEM Plus, and I think it does. It actually circles us right back around to OEM Plus, doesn't it? And the fact that needs to happen in the Mini industry. And we need to look at everything, I think.
Yep.
I was only looking there recently at something else that was really simple. Like, the locks, with that little key, like, they're just so rubbish. Like, they're just made out of the worst stuff.
Oh, for like the door handles and everything.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
The keys are like, you can look at them wrong and they'll bend. Like,
yeah, it's just pure cheese. Like, and you're like, there's definitely somebody who makes locks, like, you can chat to somebody like Yale or somebody, who are going to be like, yeah, we can make that barrel it's going to be it's going to be a $10 barrel or a $20 barrel, but like, it'll have a lovely key that slots in there, and it'll be made out of, proper steel or whatever it is.
Shoot, I bet there's off the market ones that fit in those tubes.
I would be amazed if that. Yeah. I'd be amazed if that's not the case. And I think, have we just looked for it? That's the thing. Or has people looked for it? So, yeah, fingers crossed. I think hopefully over the next I think one of the big changes to this is rapid prototyping and rapid production with the likes of CNC machinery and laser and all of that. Like, I'm blown away, even in the last 3 years, with things like 3D printing, CNC and laser, how that has just become something that's so much more affordable, and it's trickling down to the people who, if they can get their hands on it, are going to use it for the right things. For us, obviously.
Yes.
You're seeing that happening.
Actually, that CNC topic, that reminds me, I don't know if you have seen from Mini Spares, on the topic of these oil pumps that you have been getting from them, they sell I'm sure you're familiar, they're Evolution lineup of stuff. They sell an Evo Mini Spares oil pump now. It's all CNC'd, all like billet, like, and it's slick. It's nice.
Yeah, I actually ordered one because I've actually ordered a good few pumps that I'm going to try, hopefully over the next couple of months, to do a bit of testing on them. Sorry, just give me 1 second here. My laptop just suddenly decided to feedback here. So yeah, I've ordered a couple of these, and the plan is that we're going to hopefully build a bit of a rig to test a few of the different ones and see like output, flow, pressure, and power taken to drive them, or something like that. Get to that hopefully this year at some stage, and maybe not even the not too distant future. But yeah, I mean, and people have been asking me recently, like, what is the oil pump to get? And that's hopefully where I'm going to get to. If I can test that now myself as a sort of an independent and, check it to see, maybe I will be able to say, actually the Evo pump is the way to go. It's it's $100, but you're going to buy it once, you're going to put it in there, and it's going to work fantastically well.
It's going to flow. It's going to stay flowing.
Gonna solve your problem.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I'm talking about. That one over there. Yeah, I don't know. That's kind of what I'm thinking anyway. I think that's going to be the way to make it all work and to give us, hopefully, a bit more reliability. But I don't know. I think it's going to be up to people like you and me out there to also encourage that change, because we're going to have to get this stuff and review it and show people, because I know exactly what people are thinking. I mean, I'd look at $100 for an oil pump versus 15 quid for an oil pump and be like, oh, that's huge.
Yes,
massive,
But then you got to think about that trade-off. Like, you put this $15 oil pump in your engine, and it's not a easily serviceable item. Like, you got to take half the engine apart in order to get that oil pump out.
But that's it, isn't it? That's exactly it. Like, it's not going to be straightforward. It's not going to be simple.
And maybe your time isn't worth that. Like, maybe it, like, to you personally, like, if your time doesn't bother you, like taking the engine back out, taking it apart, like, if that doesn't bother you, then cool. $15 oil pump all the way. But
or like, you're gonna run this thing 3 times a year to go to 4 shows or something like that,
sure.
And you don't really care. I mean, it's easy for me. I can say, $100 oil pump, because I'm putting in a race engine that I've tens of thousands of euros, probably, well, maybe tens of thousands is a bit much, but thousands of euros, put in there. So fine, justifiable against that. 100 quid is easy. But if you're refreshing your 998 for, this car that you've just restored, well, 100 quid versus 15 quid, it does start to become a thing. So yeah, I think it'll be I think there's a payoff that you have to find there. But I think your point is really, really, really good. And to everybody who is listening, it's something that doesn't always come naturally, but looking at the future and that exact way of saying, hold on, cost benefit analysis, where am I going to be in 5 years time? Is this still going to be, a running car with a running engine? I need to pay off whether I need to pull this thing apart and put 6 new ball joints in it. So yeah.
Oh God, so. These cars. I'm just thinking about the stuff that I might have to replace in my car in the next 5 years.
No. Just don't think like that. Never think of that stuff. It's a friend of mine the other day was like, I just found my little booklet with my cost breakdown when I built my last race car, and I was like, burn it right now.
Yeah, don't even look at it.
Burn that so many times. Yeah.
You'll be so sad if you look through it.
No, it's horrific. Don't look through it. Well, anyway, that's it. Well, hello to everybody, by the way, that's popping in that maybe wasn't here at the very start. It's good to see you all here.
Yeah, welcome.
See some new names popping in. And yeah, I suppose Happy New Year to everybody. God, never said that. Woo.
Yeah, we're over here like, first thing of the new year. Anyway, so.
Yeah, so a Happy New Year to all of our wonderful subscribers, Patreons, and followers. It's great to see you all here.
And briefly, just for those of you who are asking questions in the chat right now, we normally do a separate Q&A session right at in the last segment of this video. So if you have some questions, definitely save those for that section. With the way that the chat moves and everything, we might miss those now, and don't want to miss those questions. So save those. And if you have anything you want to ask us about the topics we're talking about, we'll try and work those in as well. But
I've seen a couple of juicy ones float by. So
me too.
Yeah, when that Q&A comes up, don't forget to hammer us on the chat and bring them up to the front so that we see them. As we get all carried away talking about all the rubbish we talk about and miss things on the side. So yeah, hit us up with them.
Well, this is actually kind of an interesting segue, and maybe you'll let me bring this into this next segment. I have been watching some videos of yours recently, and you have been in the process of tooling up. I love the term that term tooling up. I hadn't heard it until I watched your videos, and the concept makes a lot of sense to me. But getting tooled up to start producing what could be considered an OEM plus kind of part. The RTS clutch setups, and this isn't it's not like the newest type of clutch system. This is definitely something that's been around for a little bit, but it sounds like you might be producing these here soon. Is there anything that you would like to share with the class?
Yeah. So look, I suppose this kind of came from two folds, exactly like that. One, Robert is somebody I know since back in the Turbo Mini days, which used to be a forum that I frequented a lot and was very active on, back in the early 2000s. And Robert was an ingenious guy who basically, said, I'm not just going to keep putting heavier and heavier and heavier clutch diaphragms on so that I can hold back the torque of my turbo engine that he was building. And I was like, you know what, he's so right. And he then thought, okay, well, the Verto clutch is a much better setup. So what about we use that and see, can we tune that up? And that is something that kind of drifted along for the last few years. And there has been, a good few people have made these themselves. I've made a few for customer engines, and there's a couple of guys out there making them. And I said, you know what, I would just like to offer people an alternative myself. Just have something that just sits there on the shelf that is just an alternative to the Verto setup, the pre-Verto setup and the diaphragm and all of that setup. And yeah, this idea of tooling up, well, for me, because everything for me, I'm a one-man band here running this business. I have one co-helper here in Billy who is doing literally all of the other behind the scenes stuff, but I'm the man who operates the machines. So I've got 8 or 9 hours a day, for 6 days a week if I can muster to work a Saturday. And when you put that all down, that's not a lot of hours really, to get anything done. So I've got to tool up to do anything. Everything for me I have to think about investing some hours in the early part so that I can be efficient with my time. And if people watch my channel, you'll see, and go all the way back over the last year, I'll always, and a lot of the time I just pull this out and be like, this is a tool I have for doing this, or this is a thing I made for doing that, or this is a thing I make for that. And that has always been my mantra. Anytime I do something once or 1 or 3 times and go, okay, I'm kind of doing this a bit on a repeat basis, this is something I do more often, I will get tooled up for it. I'll make up some tooling to make that repeatable quickly and easily. That's kind of all it is. It also allows me to produce a better quality component, at a better price and more affordable. And that's literally it. But for me, this notion of the pre-Verto or the Verto RTS clutch is I want to go a step further and make this something that's nearly almost tunable. So I can have clutch covers. When I talk about clutch covers, I'm talking about these Verto clutch covers that I posted over to America. Hang on, I'm just going to take this one back from America.
Oh, yeah. Dang it, I messed it up.
Yeah, these Verto covers. And really what I want to be able to do is I want to be able to make one of these, test it, and put up, and say, well, if you buy this one, I know this will be able to hold back, 100 foot-pounds of torque. Or if you buy this one, this is 110 foot-pounds of torque. Or you buy this one, it's 120. I don't know what the range is going to be, but it'll be probably 3 or 4. You'll have a lightish one, that'll do 90 to 120, and then you'll have a 120 to 150, and then a 150 plus or something like that,
Yep.
Because
that's wonderful. That is a really great idea.
And I think it's needed because people are making more power. 7 ports are much more regular now. We've seen them all over the place. Turbo engines, you're seeing them everywhere. Even 8 ports and twin cams, they're all becoming much more readily available. And many more people are starting to fit these to their cars. And they're all starting to make over 100 foot-pounds of torque. And
Yep.
you know,
And briefly, real quick, like even these small
Yeah.
bore engines are starting to come in with these new developments, these new ideas. I'm going to pop something on the screen here for people. This is something new from Specialist Components, but a blow-through supercharger kit for a small bore engine. And these types of things are going to get bigger and bigger as time goes by. And so,
yeah,
oh,
and
I
people
thought I
are
was
going to
sharing.
make more. Oh, that looks really, yeah. Oh, that's the one. Yeah. That was
Mhm.
I can't remember the name of that supercharger, but I mean that thing made absolutely wicked torque. And
Yeah.
you know, what are we going to do? Are we going to keep putting these huge heavy springs on there, and we're, you know, like, and not against any of the guys that are producing twin spring clutches out there at the moment, but I know a few of them that I've seen have been way oversprung. In other words, like they're actually way too heavy for the engine. Like, you know, if you test them here with the torque wrenches, you'll find that they're probably holding back something ridiculous, like, you know, 180
Mhm.
foot-pounds of torque or something. And there's just
Yeah.
there's no need to spring your clutch that heavy, and all you're doing is hurting your leg, making your Mini harder to drive, and wearing
Yeah.
out all the other components, all the hinge pins and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, that's the whole idea of RTS. And you're right, it is a plus plus. I mean, I'm not aiming at the I'm certainly not, and nothing I do here aims, unfortunately. I'd love to be at that, but I'm not a mass producer, so I'm not aiming at the
Mhm.
people who are looking for OE plus. I don't think. I think I'm
Yeah.
maybe in 10 years time, if I keep continuing to get the support I do, and you know, we can grow the business so that we have the ability to invest in stuff like this, then yeah, maybe we'll look back in these videos and laugh and say, God, look where we are now. But you know, right now, yeah, we're just going to try and help the market as much as we can for the very much niche side of things, even, you know,
Exactly.
as niche
And
as
a lot of people, when they're building these engines, have a good idea of at least a range of that torque and power figure. Like, to be
totally.
honest with you, like I got an incredible RCS clutch setup. It's really well made, well put together, but it is very, very strong. And as a result, my engine that could probably meet the power limits of this clutch at some point. You know, maybe not the actual limits of it. It's a pretty strong clutch, but you know, there is a sacrifice in pedal feel for that. Like a good buddy of mine who is very, very into minis. It taught me a lot of the stuff I know. I brought him for a drive in the Mini. I said, "Okay, you take it for a drive. Let me know how you like it." Torque steer
Yeah.
almost pulled us off of the road, but the first thing he said when he put his foot in there was like, "Oh my God, this clutch!" Like, and this is coming from someone who's driven minis his whole life, and like, you know, there is that trade-off. And so being able to choose from, okay, I know I'm going to have a pretty quick NA engine that's going to,
Yeah.
you know, bounce off of 100 horsepower, 100 torque. You know, I want an uprated clutch, but I don't need one that's going to hold 300 foot-pounds of torque. And,
Exactly.
you know, so.
And that's kind of where I see it. Like, I don't know how many engines I've built now, but I always try my best to tune the clutches I build for people to be close, you know, to be,
Mhm.
I don't want them slipping, but I certainly don't want, like, if I'm 10 foot-pounds over what I think it's going to make, I'm happy, and I don't want to go any more over than that. And to
Yeah.
be honest with you, like, if we look at what you guessed, and I don't want to give anything away because I know you're going to do a big reveal on your engine and everything it did.
Mhm.
So I don't give anything away. But talking in kind of riddles, you and I made a guess in our head at what you were probably going to make, and
Mhm.
you know, the likes of some of the other people like Phil and Turbo Phil and people like that, you know, we weren't far off. You know,
Yeah.
we were really within the ballpark, and that is very common. I mean, I don't know how many engines, as I said, I've built, and I have always been within, you know, 5 or 10 foot-pounds of torque and within 5 or 10 horsepower of what I thought. Sometimes with boosted engines, it's easier. The margin for error is a little bit easier because, you know, 3 pounds of boost can make a massive difference in horsepower.
Enormous
You know what I mean, or
difference.
torque. Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas with an NA engine, you can be within 3 or 4 easily.
Yeah.
Like, you know.
Mhm. There's less
But with that
variation
said,
in an NA
you know,
engine for sure.
the other great thing about a boosted engine is, you know, if you set your targets at, you know, I want to make 120 foot-pounds of torque and I want to make 160 horsepower. Well, I mean, if your Roland Road guy says you're making, 5% or 10% over that, well, you just wind a couple of pounds of boost back off, and all of a sudden, you're exactly where you should be. So, yeah. I don't think there's any reason why we shouldn't be able to offer the market good tunable components that are really suitable for what they want, and to go there. And I think we need to see more of that and support more of that in our mini industry, because there's too much. Well, I get this. I think there's too much just fit and forget notion out there that people, once they start tuning their cars, they start thinking, well, I can just buy this, blah blah blah, and it's gonna cover this range of possibilities. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Going from anti-roll bars. We talk all the time about anti-roll bars, and I know recently you kind of had a bit of a flirt with anti-roll bars, and maybe probably didn't or weren't exactly what you had expected, and maybe weren't how I maybe sold them. I probably talked about them a different way, and
it's your fault.
Might have been like, yeah. And I mean, this is eminently possible. But how tunable are anti-roll bars? This is the thing. Like, I mean, is it a fit and forget thing? I mean, that's not the case. Like, they massively changed the handling of a car. So, are you going to just buy one anti-roll bar that's going to work for everybody? Not the case. Not going to work.
No, and the way that variation happens is all down to the way that the builder builds it. There's different thicknesses of bars, there's different orientations of those bars, the way that the pivot points are set up. All of these things have pretty big implications into the way it behaves and handles. So yeah,
totally. Look, this is kind of where you're at, and I think that's where OEM plus, I love it. Jesus, how many more pluses can we put on OEM? But yeah, and I think to kind of round out that topic, yes. I mean, for me, I see the next couple of years in the way I want to go is to try and find those gaps and help people in them. That's all I'm interested in doing, because I think, I mean, I'm in the position now where I could probably develop my business into being another mini components supplier person. You know what I mean? I'm probably only a year or two away from going down that road. And
with that new Bridgeport.
Oh yeah, I mean, look at this. I mean, this old guy, he's going to be churning them out. God, imagine if I had to do production components on the Bridgeport. You've never
Maximum
seen me.
Suffering.
Live would just be me turning handles. Yeah, hi guys. Yeah.
Well, looks like we lost you there for a little bit.
Oh, am I gone?
You're back.
No, I'm there. I thought I pulled out the power cable. Oh, I'm such a dump. We're good. I literally just kicked my foot underneath the table, and I was like, I've just pulled out that power cable. No, we're good. We're good. I'm going to move it now so that it's not under my foot. Right. No, nothing to see here. We're a polished, smooth performance.
What was it, 3 or 4 episodes ago, where I'm over here with Ethernet cables all across the screen while we're trying to get it all sorted?
Trying to plug in batteries and be like, yeah, no, we're all good. What was I saying there before I completely confused myself? For me, that's the road I want to go down. I want to try and develop the business into where we produce those bespoke components that are going to hopefully be, they're not going to be the kind of, I suppose I'm skirting around saying the cheapest on the market. They're not going to be that, because you gotta make things good, and if you want to make things good, it's going to take time, and time costs money. That's the end of the world. But I think there is 2 ways that industry around minis is going to go, and I'm seeing a few people are changing the way they work to do that. I mean, our friend Turbo Phil is just a really, really good example. We had Phil on the show here a while back on one of our lives. And he is a guy who, like, to me, is exactly the he's built a business where he just produces really kick-ass cylinder heads. That's what he does.
Well,
you know?
genuinely very kick-ass.
Yeah, and he, Phil has had the opportunity to go sideways if he wanted to. Turbo fills valves, turbo fills fucking springs, turbo fills blah blah blah. But like, he's just giving it beans and making just the best cylinder heads, in my opinion, that are out there, especially for boosted engines. Fair play. I think we need to encourage people like that and keep them going. And that's why he's one of the first people we had on the channel here, because I really vibe off that style of work. And in fairness, you've gotten some components for your recent build from other vendors like that, I think, that are in that space. And it's wonderful, isn't it? It's really nice.
It is really, really great. And having those contacts, having those people who are there, who you can rely on to provide good parts, is paramount. Like, I don't want to make this sound like it's just like plugs of our products, but the company I work with for the brake lines, my hydraulic lines, HEL Performance, I'm not the only person who sells their lines by any stretch of the imagination, but I do carry a lot of their individual, like, very mini specific lines. And those types of things are the really awesome parts I like to see going out into the mini community. And that's why I carry them myself, is like these hydraulic lines that are reliable, that are going to last years and years on your car.
Yeah.
They'll probably outlast the steel on the Mini. And
they definitely will.
And you just know they're going to work. And so that's the kind of stuff I really like to see. And that's also like why I enjoy partnering with you, because you are also producing those kinds of things. So,
well, yeah. I mean, we're certainly, I mean, my aim at the moment, of course, is still I'm very low key, and I wish I had the scalability to kind of to bump into, be able to produce the stuff quicker. But the truth is that that's another key component of this type of production of components, is that you've got to be prepared in a lot of cases to wait, because most of this stuff is being handmade. But you know what? I buy stuff myself that is being handmade, and the wait is almost a pleasure, to be honest with you, because you know what's coming, and somebody is actually crafting this thing. They're contacting you maybe 3 or 4 times in the middle of making it, to be just like, hey, do you want the hole there, or should we put the hole there, or are we making it this size but this side? And to me, that's just a great synergy between a supplier that can do that, and you as somebody who's building a bespoke Mini, or is building whatever it is you're building. It's that, I think I can see a lot of that becoming hopefully more popular in the next few years in the Mini community, where that's something that we encourage and we bring on.
Yeah, my experience was effectively exactly that with the car kitchen and the intercooler setup that he put together for me. It was like, all right, hey man, I need a front mount intercooler. I don't know shit about TIG welding. Like, I know how it works, but I'm not going to be able to do it, which just kind of actually segues into our next topic, I think. But I reached out to him and he said, okay, cool, let's put something together for you that's going to work really well and fit really well. And it was a process. Like, it definitely took a few months to get it all put together. I see he's cranking them out now, which hopefully I like to think that I helped with that a little bit, maybe with measurements or something, but maybe not. And he makes these intercoolers. He contacted me. Okay, where do you want the inlet for this? Does it need a baffle? Does it need any sort of, like, he hand shaped a lot of this stuff. And then when I got it in my hands, it literally came out of the box and bolted right into the car. And for those of you who've been in the Mini community, this is like a big deal. But for those of you who haven't been, bolt-in parts on a classic Mini is basically not a thing.
Doesn't happen.
Yeah, like, modern cars, you're like, I want a cold air intake, boop boop, and there it's in.
Yeah,
it's or ram air intake, whatever you want to call it. But in the classic Mini, that's not the case. Not the case. But
no. Look, do you know what? That is a really good segue, and maybe we will just kind of go into our next topic, because I think we'll end up just skirting around it now if we don't talk about it. And, do you want to?
Yeah, I'll start. So what we wanted to talk about a little bit was this concept of whether it is. There seems to be a growing notion that DIYing versus buying, and which one of them is good or bad, which one is the right course of action, and if you choose one or the other, it somehow belittles or makes you better in one way or another. And the fact of the matter is like, not everybody can do every single thing on a Classic Mini, me included. My channel is literally called Classic Mini DIY, but I am not a welder. Like, I am not a good welder at all. For those of you who've seen the welding stuff that I've done, it might be airtight or watertight or liquid type, but it's not pretty. And those are the kinds of things that, like, okay, you got to take the skill assessment and say, am I going to DIY this, or am I going to enlist some help from somebody who knows how to do this properly? And then, there's a cost differential there. And we kind of wanted to dive into that a little bit, this notion that somehow one is better than the other. Because,
yeah, I think that point is really, really important. First of all, this idea of belittlement, and I've seen this a bit on different Facebook groups and a few of the internet forums and a couple of the chats that I've seen. Where, oh, he just bought that from, or oh, he just got that from, or that kind of idea. And I think there is two things that are going to be that are critical in anybody who buys a Mini, stands in front of it in their garage or outside their house or whatever it is, and looks at it and decides, I'm going to do X, Y, and Z to this car. You've got to, first of all, as you quite rightly pointed out, am I tooled up? We just talked about tooling up for the ATS clutch. I mean, am I tooled up to do this? Do I have literally the repertoire of tools that's required to do this? And in some cases, that will be no. And then you've got to make a decision. I'm in business here working for almost, I'd say it's the guts of 15 years. And I literally put a Bridgeport in this workshop just before Christmas. And people would say, well, Paul, why, all the stuff that you've been doing for all those years, why have you not had a Bridgeport sooner? And the truth is that I had a little milling machine that did sort of everything kind of okay. And I used to limp along with it and use it. And for me, I didn't justify tooling up at that time for what I was doing. So, you can scale that whatever direction you want, but it's certainly one of the critical factors of DIYing is, what, and as you quite rightly pointed out, you've got to take a measure of your own capabilities first. And that's not to discourage anybody, because you might take a measure of your capabilities and go, I can't do any of this. And that is not the reason why you shouldn't.
Yep.
You then have to look and see, what is my capabilities and where and what is the source of knowledge? Is there a source of knowledge out there that I can lever to learn something? And then can I tool up? And then can I tackle this job? And I think, that's the needle that a lot of people out there are all trying to tread. And yeah.
And then kind of on top of that, wherever you land on that needle does not make you more or less of a car person. There are a broad spectrum of kinds of people who will get into these cars, and some people want to get into the weeds of it. Like, I'm one of those people who arguably kind of enjoys working on the car more than I enjoy driving it, which, in that kind of ebbs and flows, but I'm definitely a hands-on person. Like, I got my bike and I started doing stuff to it like the moment I got it. And so where you land on that needle doesn't take away from the fact that you enjoy this car or have grand ambitions on a car. So like when I started in the Classic Mini world, I didn't know diddly about turbos. I didn't know anything about like this specific engine, and I still don't know everything there is to know about this engine. But when we took that skill assessment, when I took that skill assessment, I was like, okay, I'm willing to put in time and energy and also try and find the resources to be able to learn to do these things, which takes time out of my day, but that's what I want to do. And then somebody else who maybe works an incredibly grueling job, that's like 9-10 hours a day, wants to get it into and get a classic mini, but they know that they're only going to be able to enjoy it for an hour or two of the day, which they want to spend driving it. Well, maybe it makes more sense to hire somebody to do the body work or to repair the engine, or like, do they want to spend that time getting into it? They still love cars, but their time is different. So
every time I make videos, and I'm sure you've done this loads of times with the videos you've been making, because they're very similar parallels. You and I make very similar content a lot of the time, and it's generally looking at doing a job and the ways to do it. Not necessarily the only way to do something as well. That's another thing that I think is very important. I do things a particular way because that's me and that's my way of thinking, exactly like, do you need to get tooled up like I am to build an RTS clutch? No way. You can buy 2 clutch diaphragms and with your bloody battery drill, just drill out those rivets and, take that thing apart. And you will make an RTS clutch if you want. You will be able to do it. Whereas for me, I'm in a different zone, and I'm working to a different set of skills and working with different techniques and different systems. And it is exactly that I think, as you said, is part of the assessment. It's looking at where it is you lie and what it is, what the end goal is as well. If the end goal, for somebody like you enjoy working on your car, arguably as much at least as driving it. So if not a little more. So if that's the case, then it makes really good sense for you to devote a huge amount of your time to learning skills to do that work on that car. And also, you're not going to mind if at some stage that doesn't work perfectly. Like if your car breaks down, out the back country somewhere in Charlotte, you're not going to mind too much about having to get a tow truck and bring it home and learn what went wrong and fix it. But equally, you might have another person, as you said, who works this grueling job or, doesn't have all those. And they might, it could be a showstopper. Like they could be on their way to IMM in Germany or something like that. And the car blows up and it's like, everything is just it's a disaster. Like it's a complete utter disaster. And, it does really depend on what your goal is, where you're trying to go. What I would love to do, or if the one thing I think that I got across today is, I would love people to never limit their thinking, as much as to say, don't tell yourself you can't. Ask yourself, how much of it can you? And then be realistic. Be really realistic about that and say, okay, I could strip the subframes and paint them and put all new bushings and bearings and stuff in it, but maybe I'd be better off getting somebody to build the short motor because, I'd like to have this car done in a year, not 5 years. And, 2 years of turning the engine around in the engine stand, wondering which way the crank should go in, There's a lot to it,
like, can you? And with the point you said, what can I do and what do I want to do? And both of those I think are valid. Not only at some point in the future can I do this, but at some point in the future, do I genuinely want to do this? And if you don't want to do something, screw the people who think that makes you some sort of the lesser kind of car person. Like, I don't really want to be in a machine shop boring stuff. Like, I don't want to do that. I like that it exists. I like that somebody, does enjoy or does do that for a living, but I don't want to do that. And it's okay.
And it's totally fine. Like a really good example. I've been asked a few times here, and you get the cars painted by somebody else. I mean, sure, painting is just spraying paint on, and actually 90% of painting the car is actually the preparation. And we see you you do filler work, Paul, and you do sanding and preparation. So have you ever thought of learning how to paint a car? No, and I never will. I am never going to do it because I hate it. I cannot tell you how much it absolutely melts my brain. I would far prefer to stand for 4.5 hours at this Bridgeport getting 3 holes drilled really accurately than 2 hours sand and filler off a car. I would, for me, it's completely, it's a no-brainer. So, you know, exactly that. Can you do it? And if you can, is that the only reason that you should do it? Or should you be doing it because it's something that you really want to master? Is it a skill you really want to master, you know?
Yep. That is, I think that encompasses this point very, very well. Very well.
Yeah. I got a very wisdomous little bit that I'm going to pass on. And it kind of is on this topic. A friend of mine, about 2 years ago, we were talking about getting married and wedding bands and this sort of stuff, you know. And the two of us were kind of back and forward about, we listened to this band and they were crap, and we listened to that band and they were a bit crap. And he was like, man, I'm just going to get a DJ to come and play music for me. And I was like, okay, what's the sort of talking? And he was like, because I don't need to get another group of people to come to my wedding and badly play songs I really like.
Yeah, I just want to hear the songs I like, the way that I like them.
Played really well, you know, by the people who originally played the song. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And I know, like, I know everyone will have an opinion on that. And some people love a wedding band because they love how energetic it is and all that. And I totally get that. But if you're a music person and you love hearing, I don't know, you know, whatever the band is, and you love this particular song by them, it's going to be very hard for anybody else in the world to recreate that at your wedding with instruments.
Yes.
Like, it's just, is that going to happen? I doubt it, you know? So, yeah. Can they play that song? Yes, they can. Are they reasonably good at playing that song? Yes, they are. But is that what you want to listen to? Or do you want to listen to the actual song? You know? But yeah,
that's great.
I don't know. But yeah, it was just one of those ones, wasn't it? It was one of those bits and pieces. Yeah, I'm going to give a shout out actually right now to somebody. I have to say, I'm wearing some of our new merch, by the way, and I'm going to try and give you a bit of a better view here in the camera. Do you like that view?
I think I've seen this dog before.
Have you seen this dog before? I don't know where you've seen this dog. Yeah. So a shout out to 2 brilliant people. One to Billy. Billy designed this T-shirt, and it is now live on our website. Sorry for the plug, Cole, but I just had to get it out there. It's so cool.
It's okay. I'm just turning off your camera right now. No big deal.
That's okay. That's okay. I'm just deleting the one we were sending you in the post. Okay, that one's good. Yeah, so a shout out to 2 people. One to Lewis. Lewis is a long-time friend of both myself and Cole, and he is an absolutely wonderful, wonderful artist. Lewis turned Billy's dream into a reality in the shape of our Husky Race Engineering team. So yeah, if anybody is interested, these T-shirts just went live on the website actually this evening, and we have a little bit of a discount on them just for I think it's how long is it, Billy? Is it 24 hours for the full day? Oh, until Friday. Oh, that's good. Yeah, they're for a week. So there you go. So yeah, if people want to go, yeah, if we go over there, get that shirt, and give old Arkham a plug. But anyway, yeah, thank you very much, Lewis, and thank you very much, Billy, for all the hard work that goes into these things. T-shirts just arrive in my at the end of my bed, and I'm like, oh, this looks nice.
Oh.
And get to wear it.
Where did this come from?
I maybe send 1 or 2 emails back and forward, but that's about it, you know. So yeah, so it's great to have such wonderful people, and so
that's
there
awesome.
You go. Alrighty, yeah, I suppose. Yeah, go on.
Well, before we get started in the Q&A section, there is something that I wanted to kind of kick off, kind of moving forward for these live streams, and that is a customer showcase section. And you guys if you've been with my channel for a long time, you might remember I did a customer showcase early on my channel. And Paul and I were talking and we're like, you know what? This actually is probably an awesome place to showcase some people's minis, showcase some really cool pictures, things of that nature. And for this live stream, you all probably saw the really slick looking thumbnail. And that was not my mini, and that was not Paul's mini. That was a patron of mine's, William's mini. And let me just pull up a photo here, because he sent me quite a few really awesome ones. Should have had this window open prior. Didn't get it together.
That's all good. Yeah, while he's doing that, I just want to say that mini is just magic. I love it so much. And yeah, if you guys are interested in doing this, we're gonna, I think, what way did we say, Cole? We said they can email us, or they can private message us on any of our.
You can email either of us. My email, I'll give you a second. You can send your email, and we'll both post it in the chat here. But you can email either of us, and each month we are going to just randomly select a mini from the collection of shots that we receive. And whether you've sent one this month, 6 months from now, you'll be in the same pool of people getting a random shout out here. And if you could, please share any pictures you really love, and maybe a short little excerpt about the mini, about yourself. And we'd love to kind of get this going on a regular basis. And sharing some really cool customer minis, or viewer, subscriber, patron, anybody.
Freudian slip.
Yeah. You can't tell I'm turning bright red right now, like this mini.
No, but yeah, absolutely. Do you know what it is? There's just some amazing cars out there. There really is. People send me in stuff all the time, and I'm not doing it any justice whatsoever. So I think when Cole suggested this to me, I was just so excited by it. I think I'm really excited to do this. And, you know, like, I know that this platform is one that is only starting to grow, but I would love to be able to help other fellow mini enthusiasts. So even not help them, but you know what? It's just a joy to see these cars. And look at that. I mean, that is just
look at that.
Stunning. It's stunning.
I think
Absolutely
all of us
gorgeous.
just dream of having photos this good of their mini. Like, I know I do. I'm hoping that I can get my lovely wife to get out and take some photos with me. But like, these are the things, this is what you think of when it's like, I want to go drive my mini. You know, this is how it feels.
Couldn't agree more. And did we get any story from this guy? Did it? I know you kind of were saying
we did.
Yeah.
Yeah. So William sent a short little excerpt about this mini. The car that you see is a 1976 Austin Mini, originally a 998. And he's had it just a little under 2 years as of June 2022. And he is also 22 years old and graduated with a degree in, and just recently graduated with a degree in automotive engineering. And like, just brilliant. I have been he's been on my Patreon live chat, and unfortunately he's going through some heartburn with his engine right now, but it has been a pleasure seeing him get this mini ready for a rally recently, and just the whole story of this mini has just been really wonderful.
That is fantastic. Wow, so young to have such a really gorgeous looking mini. Well done, and fair play to him. That is fantastic. And I presume, I didn't catch it. He's American, I presume, is he?
No, William, I see you're in the chat. Please correct me if I'm wrong. I recall you are Dutch.
Right. Dutch, yeah. That makes sense.
Holland,
isn't that right? Yeah.
I hope I did not get that wrong. I might have just inserted the shoe that I'm wearing into my mouth. We'll see shortly.
Well, yeah, if you're still in the chat there, William, give us a shout and let us know what the story is. But yeah, that is a little stunner. That is a little stunner. Oh, both. Okay. Good to see you, dude. Your mini is fantastic. It's an absolute. It's a gem. So it's Mark III then, am I right, or is it Mark IV?
Mhm.
76. Is that what you said? 76. Yeah. I think it's Mark III. Yeah. It's gorgeous. Yeah. Really, really
But
nice.
But with that, I think I'm going to pop a little caption here that I am
Cool.
also going to read out. It's like watching a PowerPoint in high school.
Oh,
But
nice.
yeah, we are now moving into our Q&A segment,
Yeah.
which is what we do at the end of every live stream. And we'll hang out for probably 30, 45 minutes, answer your questions. And all super chat questions are guaranteed answers. And if you guys feel like supporting us, that is a wonderful way to do that. Super chat helps support paying for the platform we use in order to do these live streams and the channels, of course. But we are going to strive to answer every question that we get in the live stream. So don't worry. It's not only super chats, but
Yeah.
let
No,
those
I totally
questions
agree.
rip.
Yeah. Give them. There's some really good ones I've seen down there. They've gone down now, and I'll never scroll to get to them. But yeah, there's some real good ones there. So yeah, let them rip and come out. I'm going to just have one last final say on that mini of Williams. Yeah, I see there just popped in from, I think that's Paul Jeffries. Hi, Paul. Good to see you on the channel.
Hey, Paul.
Yeah, I missed a call from you, by the way, the other day, Paul. I'll answer you back shortly. Oh, the joys of live streaming. You have me now. Yeah, so it is Mark III, and yeah, it's an absolute little stunner. Really, really nice. Also, I suppose maybe while we're waiting for a couple of questions to come in there, maybe just a couple of shout outs as well, just seeing people kind of, the regulars that roll in there every time we do a live stream, and it's great to see you guys back in. So big shout out to Team Ballylock Classic. Ian is always on hand. Anybody who doesn't know, Team Ballylock Classic, Ian runs a YouTube channel as well, and I'd love to see Ian's channel explode, to be honest with you, because he makes really cool videos. He videos motorsport in Northern Ireland. He does videos of the work he does on his minis as well, and he's one of those little small mini channels like my own that it's amazing how that content is in YouTube, and it's so hard to find sometimes. It's really hard to get in there and find it. So yeah, get out there and see those, because they are absolutely fantastic. They're really, really good.
He actually has a wonderful question too. Little callback to Instagram story. For those of you who don't know, all of the live streams I've done, sans one of them, has been done on a small wooden stool that was literally the most uncomfortable thing that I could be sitting on. But I finally upgraded to a brand new backed stool. Yep, it's the bee's knees. And so thank you for asking that. It is wonderful. My back has been thanking me very much. And
I don't know. Yeah. I don't know how you managed to do this, Cole, right? But people don't know, okay? But obviously it's a team here in HRE, and we've got Billy, who does all my camera work and is furtively always working behind the scenes to make me not look like an Oompa Loompa, and make my sound come across, half decent. But somehow, Cole, you have, I don't know, shook off your stool woes and landed them over here. Poor Billy has been sitting on this little wooden stool over in this corner of our workshop, answering back comments and doing all the back behind the scenes. Bless his soul. We gotta get him a nice chair for next week.
You gotta get you know what? You gotta get him one of those like Vulcan ones that are like ultra comfortable, that roll around the shop and everything. If he's gonna be out there is stooling and taking care of you,
he needs like one of these ones with all the screens, like a gaming chair, but like with the screens built in. Man, that's what he needs, and he can make it all happen.
Yes.
So oh yeah, hello to Mini Performance. Good to see you in here as well, Rich. I hope you're keeping well. Another fellow YouTuber.
Want to say thank you to Paul Jeffries. Thank you for the super chat contribution. We really appreciate that. I see that you didn't put a question in there, but if you do have a question,
thank you, Paul.
We'll answer it. Yes, thank you very much.
Yeah, that is really, really decent of you. Gentleman Motor Racing Club. Yeah.
Yep. Hello.
Another regular that we see on here. Connor Toomey as well. I see you there. Good to see you in the chat as well. It's lovely to see we're getting this now over the last couple of months, where every time we do these live chats, we just see these regular people popping up. And I know we don't always say it, but thank you so much. It really does. It's really nice to see it. I really enjoy seeing people coming and hanging out here in the shop. But it's a really nice community feel. And it's almost like being able to go to shows that you don't, like when you can't always go to a car show or whatever. It's nice to have one Sunday in the month where we all get to hang out and chat about stuff. And it's kind of cool. Yeah.
I see a question here from Modified Mayhem about opinions on running arches. That one actually stuck out to me because right before sending the Mini off to the dyno, which is where it is right now still, unfortunately, in case you can't tell from the echo in this space.
Goddamn Charlotte Snow.
Yeah, killing me. I'd have it yesterday, but nope, snow. Opinions on running arches, and do you guys prefer arches or archless or big arches? I'm going to go grab one of my arches that's not on the car right now. You share your opinion while I do that.
Okay, yeah, so arches, that's an interesting one. Over the years, I have gone all the way from the bloomin' big sports packs, or even bigger again with the Miglia arch. And then I've gone the other way, all the way down to no arches at all, to, depends. For me, I think where I've gotten to now with arches is it falls into one of two camps. One is, am I trying to recreate a car or a particular look? Like, say, for example, am I trying to make a car look like I'm just trying to think of a Group 2 rally car, for example. Is that the kind of look I'm trying to make? Or am I trying to make like a Cooper ES, or, what way am I trying to go with it? So for me, that's one camp. And then the other camp for arches is it a road going car? Is there a legal requirement to have the wheels covered? And what size wheels do I want to run? And do I have to run an arch in order to do that? Or, to appeal to all the American audience, a fender.
Oh no! We still call it. We actually still call them arches. The fender is the whole quarter, like front quarter panel. Like that's what we refer to the fender as. This is still. I will say this is still an arch.
All right. Oh, that's fair enough. That's okay. Yeah.
I do think I agree with you. I think that you got to think about those legal requirements. Like some places, I think Australia is one of them, where you're required to have an arch that covers the whole wheel. You got to have the wheel fully tucked under the arch or something like that. Thankfully, we don't have that requirement here, but I am a big fan of arches. And I recently am in the process of swapping out the way that I mount my arches. So I have Group 2 arches. These are fiberglass painted black. I've been very happy with these. They're not huge. So basically these will fit if you have a set of disc brakes on the front of your car, on a Mark 1, for example, swapped from drums to 4-pot disc brakes. It'll bump your wheel out a little bit. And so I am in the process of swapping out the mounting hardware for riv nuts, basically threaded inserts, so I can take the arches on and off really easily. And I think I would say that cool. Yeah, I'm super excited about it. I was literally one arch into the job, and and he's like, "Well, you could bring it to the dyno today." And I'm like, "Okay." And then I didn't even put the arch back on. So.
Okay. Yeah. So. Yeah. I got an interesting question there from Classic Mini Projects, I think USA. Yeah. And he asks, and I think it's to us both, in fairness, how did you guys get comfortable making videos? He's doing a restoration of a Mark II, and he's finding it hard. He thinks to be interesting, and he's saying he's doing a lot more time lapses, which is a really interesting question to me, because I'm very new to YouTube. I mean, Cole here has been making videos for 150 million years, and at this stage he has
man over here.
Old man Cole, he was actually younger than I am, so just to get that dig in there.
Yeah, damn it.
But you just didn't waste as much of your life as I have so far. But anyway, this got dark. Sorry, what's that? No, for me, making videos. How did I get comfortable? I don't even know if I'm still comfortable. That's the truth of the matter. I would love to be completely and utterly relaxed in front of the camera, and I would love to be able to. I have some heroes out there that I love to watch, and their style or their the way they present is just. I find it very relaxing to watch myself, and I find them very relaxing. I think we were only actually talking recently about Hegarty and the Mini Cooper S that they're building, and I always think he has a really nice style. I like the way he presents, the way he talks.
Same.
And I think what's really, really important is you need to learn how to be you. I think everybody makes this mistake. I think everybody tries to be like somebody else. I think everybody tries to be, the next blah 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 or the next blah blah blah. Like, somebody recently actually mentioned to me, and they were like, "Oh, you should do this like the way Bad Obsession Motorsport does it, or you should do this like the way." I don't know who maybe Stevenson Motor Co. or somebody like that. And the truth is that would be terrible. I would be doing the community a great injustice if I did that, because they're already there doing that, and I'm here doing what I do, and Cole's over there doing what Cole does, and that's what you could add to the community. Classic Mini projects. You do your thing, and you do it the way you do it, and that's what people want to see. I know when I look at YouTube videos, I look for people doing their thing, not doing something else, doing my thing or doing someone else's thing.
Yes.
Yeah. What would you think, Cole?
I think that you put that pretty eloquently. Actually, that is a big factor in the way that I approached kind of my YouTube life, my YouTube stuff. Like the way that I am on these episodes and things, while there's probably like 95% less swear words in my video than there are in real life. This is kind of like how I am as a person. And that, I think that's the biggest piece. You do want to be who you are genuinely. But I also take a pretty like technical, critical approach to myself as well. I watch the videos that I watch them and I appreciate the way that they do things. And maybe I'm like really into the stylistic choices that somebody makes, and I'll kind of try incorporating that in or putting my own spin on that stuff. But also, the topic you said where it's like, how do you keep things interesting? And I would try to err away from trying to see what's interesting for other people, even though this is a content sharing network and you're kind of like, this is kind of like watching TV and, you want to appeal to the most people, but you will appeal to more people by doing things that you genuinely find interesting, because your interest in those items is going to elevate your content. So I love minis, and as a result, my love for minis means that I put that love into my videos and I put out things that I like people to see. And that can be said for anything. Like take a look at, there's a really big channel, Smarter Every Day. He loves learning.
What a channel. I love his channel so much. Oh man, he's such a cool guy.
And
Dustin, is Dustin his name?
Yes. Yep. Dustin.
Yeah.
He takes content that explained by anyone else might be just incredibly dry, incredibly boring, and turns it into exciting stuff because he's excited about it. So I guess that would be my advice: is take the things that you're excited about and do videos on that stuff.
Yeah, I completely agree. Yeah, and I think, that's what it is. You try and look at, when you're looking for inspiration, that's what it is. It's inspiration. It's not copying. You don't want the same. You want to be inspired by the way they do something to put your own mark on something, But yeah. All right.
Oh, did we just lose you? I think we lost you there. See if it catches up here for a minute.
Action, I think. Oh, no, I'm back. Am I?
You're back.
Oh, sorry, guys. I don't know what's happening. I think I kicked the cable again. It's all good. Alrighty. What's the story? Yeah, so what's the next question? Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like we got a question from Paul Jeffries, Classic Mini Garage.
Oh,
And
cool.
this is a question from Paul for Paul.
Ah,
Regarding cam timing, I read a post that I read a post that I read that said it's better to set the timing with the head and rocker cover, rocker shift fitted, etc. I've always done it before the head was fitted.
okay. Yeah, I know what he's asking. Um, yeah. So basically, what Paul is trying to figure out here is when you're setting cam timing on an A series engine, the sort of way that is most portrayed out there in a lot of the books and in certainly any of the videos that I've seen recent times is that people set the basic timing, then they put a push rod in on inlet number 1, and they set their cam timing, which will be a book figure like so many degrees after top dead center. That push rod should be at its highest point. The other way of doing that is bolting on the cylinder head and doing that off a valve. So the push rod obviously pushes a valve and opens it into the combustion chamber. And what Paul is asking is, should you be doing it off that valve or should you be doing it off the cam? Now, the question here is you've actually got to talk to your cam manufacturer and you got to know what way that cam was specified and where they're coming with that angle from, because they may well have given that angle in anticipation that you're doing it in one way or another. For example, they might be anticipating that you're going to do it off the push rod, and they know the best time to have that valve fully open to get the most performance out of that camshaft is at a certain angle. But that angle is going to be worked backwards with a few givens in place, like rocker ratio, losses through the rocker geometry, and then, getting to the push rod. For me, generally speaking, I will always start with the push rod figure, which is the cam lobe. That's basically, by doing that, you're getting directly off the cam lobe. Then, if I'm developing an engine, then it's at the dyno that we will tweak that around. And whatever figure we get for that gives the best performance on that given camshaft, we'll then measure that from the valve. So that we can always pick up a valve figure every time after that. And because you then eliminate all the losses, and you know that when that valve is fully open at this time, that cam and that engine performs and gives its most power. That's kind of the way I do it anyway. But hopefully that gives you guys kind of some
That was an incredible explanation, actually. I have always done it off of the cam lobe myself. By measure of that is how I have seen it done in the Haynes manual. That's how I've seen it done everywhere else. But that's an excellent point, that like you need to get in contact, especially if you're like trying to squeeze power and actually really, really dial in an engine. It's one thing if you're just slapping in a stock camshaft and stock single timing chain, and like obviously you want everything to be correct, but the difference of a few degrees is moot because you are getting a car running. But the nature of really getting it dialed in properly requires conversations, which is cool.
Yeah. So that's that. Yeah, that's that. I think that's the best explanation we can give in a live chat anyway, Paul. But yeah, that's where I would go with it anyway. So that's it. All right. I'm going to pick one now. Yes. I have a look here. Actually, I want to answer this one. It's put up by the username Dude. God Almighty, I need to get my glasses adjusted. I had to look far too hard at that chat to figure out who it was. So Dude asks the question, looking for a 1275 engine to replace my 1100 in my Traveller. Any good places to look, and about what should it cost? That's a really good question, and next to impossible to answer. Okay, so 1275 engines around the world have gone up massively in the last few years in their value. Like, I've seen them skyrocket. I mean, I was only talking recently to one of my commenters from Australia, and I think he told me that like a bog stock standard unit over there is fetching thousands of dollars. And I was like, what? thousands of dollars. And then I was like talking recently to somebody here in Ireland, and I was like, oh, I could do it getting a few 1275 units, thinking a couple of £100. And he was like, oh, 800, 1,000, 2,000 euros. It's like, bloody hell. So I suppose, first of all, to really be able to help you answer, dude, I'd need to know where you are,
Yes.
what part of the world you're in, and then, anything there. But to be honest with you, at the moment, unless you're in the center of England somewhere where there still seems to be a few of these units kicking around for a couple of $100, I'd say expect to pay, 800 or 900 quid. So yeah. California, much more than 800 or 900 quid. So I don't know. I think Cole would know better than I would. What?
Yeah, I can give some insight there.
Cool.
So there are part suppliers here in the U.S. 7 Mini Parts, for example. There's another one, Mini Mania, and then there's a few others that don't really do engine builds so much anymore. But those range from MSRP. I want to buy an engine from them that's fully built. Ranged from about $7,000 to $10,000 out the door, and that's kind of like a retail price. But I think you're probably going to be in a similar ballpark if you are trying to source one and then rebuild it yourself. Realistically, $3,000-$4,000 to rebuild it here in the U.S. is completely realistic. I think I said realistic at least 4 times.
Is that a realistic thing though, Cole, or would it be realistic?
I mean, it's just kind of realistic, but if you really, really want to get realistic, but that's kind of what you're looking at, and that's without factoring in the cost of what the engine was. I think you're probably better off trying to find a car that already has one, or sourcing one overseas actually and having it shipped over. You can crate these engines pretty easily these days and ship them for around $500 to $900. They won't arrive quickly, but they'll get here.
Yeah. I think that's kind of what I had expected, to be honest with you. That's kind of exactly the numbers. And to be honest with you, here it's not a million miles off that either. Like you'll pick a secondhand unit up now for around 100,000 euros, but if I'm realistic, that could be a complete pile of junk. Is the most fairest thing I could say. Or it could be fine. I mean, it's chancer's choice. But I mean, if you're talking about buying an engine to put in your car and hopefully drive down the road, realistically, if you buy a motor, you're going to have to take it apart now. There's so few motors just coming off that you can buy secondhand and then drive. They're so rare now.
In fact, I've seen a lot of part suppliers are starting to either retire their engine building businesses, kind of stop doing it for customers. Like I think in the UK, there's only in terms of like big outfits, there's quite a few very good engine builders out there right now. But like big outfits, I think Swiftune still does engines, but I don't think MED does. I am fairly certain Mini Spares and Mini Sport still do. But it's becoming less and less. Big retailers are starting to do it less and less. So
yeah, it's just such a minefield now too. Like people often come to me and ask me how much it's going to be to rebuild an engine, and I'm unfortunately in the position where I can't tell them till I take it apart. And it's a horrible place to be in. You can give people ballpark figures, but they're so wildly out there. It's it's not really any help. But that's kind of where I'd be at. All right.
There was a question earlier I wanted to answer, and it was Durant asks, what's your opinion on 4x4 classic minis, 4-wheel drive classic minis?
Oh wow, that's a really interesting question.
Start.
There's so few of them that I even know of that actually exist. But I presume, is the question, what do we think about making a mini into a 4x4, or is it of just the idea of a mini being 4x4? I don't know. What would you think?
I think
making a mini into 4x4.
Yeah, I think the idea of making an all-wheel drive mini or a 4-wheel drive mini is I love this idea. I think it's super cool. I think there's two kind of ways you can go about it too. Like, do you want to make it, this is ridiculous, but do you want to make it an off-road vehicle, or are you trying to make it an ultra performant vehicle where you get more traction, more power to the ground? And vehicles I've seen here in South Carolina, well, okay, I'm in North Carolina. South of me, there is a shop called Superfast Minis, who was like one of the pioneers of the VTEC mini conversions. I don't know if that was worldwide or in the US. I'm just not really sure. But they do and did an all-wheel drive conversion for a VTEC mini. And I think that actually is a perfect place for a VTEC conversion. One of the biggest issues is getting that power out to the ground, and dispersing that across your four wheels, 4 points of contact on the ground, is going to make the mini accelerate quicker. It's going to make it insane. But I don't know. I like the idea. I love the idea of kind of pushing those limits. Electrical motors are going to make that pretty cool too.
You just nipped that one. I was just going to say, if I was going to do an electric mini, 110% would do a four-wheel drive one. 110%.
Yeah.
I don't even have to think about it. Oh, absolutely. I mean, the mini, its history is so steeped in rallying. It's unbelievable. And like a four-wheel drive rally mini, oh man, it'll be just phenomenal. Where there's literally nowhere you couldn't go. And you know, I've given a good bit of thought to this, and maybe, who knows, in 10 or 15 years time I might manage to get around to doing this. But I would love to build a four-wheel drive mini and take it somewhere where it just shouldn't be, and that would be epic. Like, you know, that would be just so much fun.
Well, Durant's he said that he or she was in South Africa.
Okay.
And they are building a Clubman off-road 4x4. So,
oh wow,
that's the perfect place, I think. South Africa has some amazing places to really get stuck in some mud and really just put it through its paces. I need to see some. Please send some photos of this so that we can feature it on our next live stream.
Do put it in there. Yeah, it would be awesome. Totally. Anyone who has something really unusual like that, definitely, and you know, equally, if it's beautiful and standard as well, I'd love to see that too. But yeah, stuff like that always tickles my fancy, and I love seeing stuff like that. But it's always nice to see. Yeah, you like my little Irishism there.
Oh, that was great.
Didn't tickle your fancy as well. So there you go.
Yeah.
Alrighty then. I seen one back here actually. Let me have a look. Let me scroll back some comments here. Where was this? Wow, we've got a lot of comments. Wow, fair play to you guys. Thank you so much. It's really great just to see. Yeah, you guys are really keeping it going. I always love looking back through the comments and seeing commenters talking to each other in the comments. It's just really cool. I really love seeing that. Yeah. Where did I see this? Why can I not find this now? I did say to you, this is a sentence. Yeah, you go ahead.
Yeah. I just want to mention someone who I know locally here, the SIG, saying good looking garage. Thank you, man. And miss seeing you. It's been a little while since we caught up, so give me a shout sometime. We'll catch up. I'll bring you for a ride in the Mini.
Yeah, that's always good. Oh man, where is this?
So many comments. All right, everybody who hasn't had their question answered, just repost it again so that
I can find it. Yeah, that's true. Oh, come on, Paul. Where is this? I don't know. I can't find it. I don't know where it is. I've just seen a couple of comments actually come in there about the price of different engines. I think Paul Jeffries actually just said there he picked up an engine there, a 1275 for 700 quid. Yeah, so
wow.
Even in England, they're getting expensive. They're
Yeah.
getting sponsored.
It's so funny.
Uh,
You say that it's expensive. I'm over here like, wow, that's so cheap. I wish we could get here.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I remember going to England like 3 or 4 years ago and picking them up for 100 quid each. Like you go to like a scrapyard and you could buy like 4 or 5 for 100 quid
That's
each. No problem.
Mind blowing. I
Yep.
think that there's
Yeah.
some artificial supply limiting happening though too. I think some of these retail shops that are still building these engines are hoarding them
Yeah.
genuinely. Like
Definitely. I would love to see. Actually, we were talking about new stuff this year. I know we're in Q&A now, but I'm gonna just hit this one up. And that wonderful English company that's developing the 5-bearing crank Ascot, I think it is, engineering,
yeah.
that are doing this 5-bearing crank aluminium block. And man, I just can't wait until he fires up those machines and kicks out engine blocks at go-go. That would be just brilliant.
Yes.
Even
if they were, is he doing one that's just a 3-bearing block too? Like if he was,
no, I think they're always going to be 5-bearing. I don't know. I think at the moment his plan is for 5-bearingers, but he is going to do them that works with the original push rod, the original camshaft, cylinder head, all that sort of stuff. So like, yeah, like he's going to CNC out engine blocks. And you know what? Somebody in the States is going to do this, and you guys are so tooled up for making CNC and engine blocks. Like
it is true.
If there's one of those guys that mills out those big V8 blocks, they churn out like 10 or 12 of them a day, are gonna see this market and be like, hold on, people are paying 1,000 quid for hunks of junk. Wait a minute, or 7,000 quid or whatever the bloody hell it is. Yeah, I would love to see a couple of the big engine block manufacturers. That's what you need to do, Cole. Get a CNC drawing of a mini block, and you get that out there for me, will you? Johan, you can do this. Yeah,
I'll do that real quick.
If you wouldn't mind just learning Fusion 360 and then drawing an engine block and then sourcing somebody in the States. I mean, there has to be like 10 of them in North Carolina alone.
Oh yeah, I'm right next door to one, in fact.
Who'll just like hog out an engine block for us, like straight away.
Well, it's so funny that there's this like dichotomy between there being access to a million of different shops and then access to none for the things that I need. It feels like
you're kind of in that world. Yeah,
dude. So I think actually some of the original alloy and steel cast 5-port heads are U.S. produced and then shipped overseas to you guys. And I forget the company that makes them. It's like a big name. Maybe somebody in the comments can think of that.
Pierce Manifolds, I think, is the name of the company.
Yep.
Yeah,
that's it. And and then of course, like everyone thinks that there's a dyno every door, every 2 doors in the US. Like, and there are 3 or 4 dynos available to me in the close area, but only one, and it's 45 minutes away from my house, is comfortable with an SU carburetor and is willing to, tune this. He's like the only guy in North Carolina who does this now.
Yeah.
And like, I'm lucky that he's 45 minutes away, but it's just so hard to find mini stuff. So like if I did some American stuff, or like if I had a Japanese car, or even like a BMW or something, easy peasy. You guys just
all you need is our next big challenge is how we're going to get an LS into the front of your Mini. That's basically what we have to do. And then I'll
get a pickup and then we'll put it in the back.
Oh, awesome. Yeah. And then the dichotomy of spares is gone for you. Like you can just literally, I mean, you and I had a chat. It was very funny, actually. This is just one for all our viewers. Not that long ago, you and I had a little chat about, I think I was looking for some cam followers from some, like, to me, obscure American V8, and I like text Cole and I was like, you see these cam followers? And he's like, yeah, hang on 1 second, I'm just going to ring my local blah blah blah. And he was like on the phone to these, like they were like down the road. He was like, I don't know whether I'll pick up the phone and ring them or just walk next door and like ask them, have they got
I'll just drive down there real quick. I did forget to follow up on that. I'm sorry.
It did feel like that. And I get that sometimes because some of the only pushrod development in the world is in the States. There's no like pushrod engine development around the rest of the world is, well, Australia still do it a bit too. But
Yeah.
pretty much the rest of the developed world doesn't develop pushrod engines now. They're gone. Like I mean, nowhere in Europe, other than any of the special tuners who are tuning minis or pushrod, you know, historic cars. But modern development of pushrod engines not happening. The States
Is that just the
probably
result
Australia.
of like overhead cam setups and just not? Yeah.
Europe just doesn't have pushrod engines because everything is a small capacity overhead cam engine. That's all we have.
Yeah.
We don't have
Interesting.
anything like you know, even Toyota, like one of the big manufacturers, it's all overhead cam, even though they're doing 3 and 4 liter still. And you know, even development of that is nearly dead. Like whereas burning petrol, turning dinosaur squeezings into power is still an American thing. And it's, you know, you guys are still developing petrol engines, whereas the rest of the world is changing their motion completely towards, you know, different forms of propulsion, whether it's electric or whatever it is, you know.
It's really interesting. I was trying to think about my Toyota. It's probably got overhead cams. It's a V6, and I think it's a 3.6 V6, but I still think it might be overhead cam.
I'm pretty sure it is. Yeah. You got to buy an American-made machine to be getting push rods, right? This will, you know, oh god, somebody's gonna fucking kill me for this, but I'm gonna ask that: are LSs overhead or not? Are they pushrod engines? I think they're pushrod. Are they?
I don't know.
Well,
I bet it depends on the generation.
Okay. Yeah, because LS is kind of a broad, isn't it? Right? There's going to be loads of generations. Yeah.
In the same way that the A series was put in a lot of different vehicles, the LS was put in things like anything. Almost every Chevy SUV had an LS in it. Vans, trucks, like all of them for a long period of time. And I think they probably still do, actually.
What I need you to do is to go to your local scrapyard, get one of those, put it in a crate, and ship it over to me so I can put it in my Land Rover. I think that's a realistic thing, right?
Yeah. Actually, it probably is realistic. I could probably do that.
Don't encourage me, for the love of God. Don't encourage me.
Billy's over here texting me like, shut the hell up, Cole.
Stop right now.
He just got a Bridgeport.
He doesn't need a Bridgeport with a bloody with a Land Rover to move it around with an LS in it. God, I would love that so much, man. Anyway, stop right now. Oh, the guys commented. Yeah, they're pushrod. Okay, with central cam pushrod. Yeah, big clunkers. Yeah,
Mini Performance says buy a dyno, Cole. You'd clean up. Man, I actually genuinely would love a hub dyno. It would be super cool. They're compact, but I'm pretty sure the zoning of my house doesn't allow for something like that. I think that my neighbors would get a little mad, me hitting 6,500 RPM on my Mini trying to get power poles. But I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
I just want to see the, you know, that camera phone footage that you see from the US all the time of like some guy who walks out and it's just like Cole.
Then the head like flies through my ceiling.
What the bloody hell's going on? I want to see that camera phone footage, man. That'd make you money on YouTube. That would.
Yes, it would. It would lose me a lot of money in real life, but it would make me a lot of money on YouTube.
Look, you got to move out of North Carolina. You know, hey, it's not the end of the world, right?
Yeah. I mean, so we got an interesting question here. This is actually a callback to something I experimented with in my supercharge build, and it was about you putting a servo on my clutch setup, my clutch circuit instead of my brake circuit. And I will say that it actually worked pretty well. But one big thing I found is that in stalling situations, which ideally you wouldn't have that very often, but you know, if your RPMs get too low, something like that, you'd get this very unusual fluctuation of pressure on your clutch pedal, which was made driving it really, really difficult. So, when you were at a traffic light, if you were starting to give it gas and maybe you lost some RPM, you're on a hill or something, the vacuum that was being generated by the engine that was assisting your clutch pushing actually was lost. And then as a result, the clutch became sporadically difficult and hard to press. And then you'd be like, the clutch would go like this. And
yeah.
didn't really work out that well. Yeah.
Probably if you were going to go that route, an electro assisted vacuum pump probably would be the way to go for that. You can get those. There's like some of the big Mercedes and stuff like that had them in it. In 12 volt, and as far as I know, they only kick on now. There might be some wiring involved here, but you can have them in such a way that they only kick on when they sense pressure too low, basically. So, 90% of the vacuum might come from your manifold, and the pump would be off like nearly all the time. But yeah, in a tricky situation or in a complete stall, it would read low vacuum in the circuit and pull on to give you assistance the whole way.
That's pretty cool.
The only reason I kind of went to actually explaining that is I think there's very good merit behind the idea of vacuum assisted or servo assisted clutch to make minis more accessible to people who maybe have, back injuries or, whatever reasons, but have reasons that the clutch pedal is just too hard to press. I would love to see, maybe it's something we should explore a bit further in the future.
In my day job, I'm a web developer, for those of you who don't know, and like a web application developer. And one of my primary focuses is like web accessibility. It's this concept of making things usable for everybody who not everybody has a strong knee. Maybe you had a blowout and your knee exploded and you can't press a clutch in anymore. And those are the types of things where you can get this assistance to allow you to continue to drive your car and enjoy your car. So I would love that. Yeah, let's manufacture a servo assisted clutch that fits in a Mini.
I love the accessibility idea. That yes. Awesome. Alrighty. Yeah. Well, yeah. I suppose it's getting to that time again, isn't it?
Yep. We actually went a little over this time. We had such a good time.
I can't believe the amount of people in the chat still and logged in. It's really cool. It's great to see so many people turning up.
We let's see here. Why don't we both answer one more question? So anyone who has a question left, it looks like we're getting some people over on the Pacific side of the world waking up. So if any of you have any questions,
okay,
we'll both answer one. Get them in.
Yeah. Let the specific. Let those other side of the worlders wake up there for a second and give us a question. It's amazing actually how I don't know if you probably see this too. When I upload a video, a year ago when I started the channel, or just over a year ago when I started the channel, I remember, because obviously YouTube was only putting my videos out to very, very local people or whatever. And, all of your views would come within the first, 6 or 8 hours or whatever. And then it might creep a little bit after that. But in the last, couple of months, I often wake up to be surprised at a change in viewership, how many videos or how much a video is viewed between the night when I went to bed and when I woke up in the morning. I'm like, who was watching my videos at like 3 o'clock in the morning? And they're like, oh, wait, people that were getting up. That's what it was.
People who were waking up at that time.
Yes. Everywhere is not Ireland. Well done, Paul.
Yep. Living in the US, that has actually been one of the best parts about owning a Classic Mini is I almost always post my videos at night on like Saturdays or Sunday nights. And I post them and then I would get like virtually no views. Like my US audience is, I have a large US audience, but the majority of my audience is in the UK and Europe. And and then I would wake up, just as you said, and I'd have these enormous amount of views that happened while I was sleeping, and I get to wake up and answer all these comments, and then delete the ones that people are calling me names, and all that stuff.
yes. I've never deleted a comment. I don't know what you're talking about, Cole. People only ever write nice things on my channel.
Yeah, I'm sure they do, Mr. Private Messages.
I see another question there from Classic Mini Projects, which is going to be my last question to answer, and it is, when are we going to get more Gretel? So I did a little short on this a while ago and said that I very definitely intend on making some progress with Gretel this year. We had a bit of an issue getting panels here because of, well, several economic factors, we're going to say, none of which were anything to do with me. And let's just leave that exactly where that lies. So the supply of regular panels is starting to return to normal, thanks be. So that means that, we have a big, massive order gone in for panels for Gretel. So when they land, we have a few projects in the shop. I'm going to do a shop walk around in the next week or two, because I know people are dying for a shop walk around. I haven't done that in ages. So I will do a shop walk around and show you what's going on here. And as soon as that happens, then I think I'll be ready to give you some real solid ideas on Gretel. But once Gretel gets up here and gets going, she's going to fly. So, yeah.
I'm looking forward to that. I'm very much looking forward to that. Let's see.
I'm looking forward to getting in there. Right, go on. You've got one to answer now.
Oh God, I was ready, but now I'm not ready. Paul Jeffries threw me off, and okay, this is gonna be the question I answer. A question for Cole: when is the motor coming out again? I will put it this way: if I have to pull the engine on this car for any reason in the next few months, it's just getting parked for a year. I'm not going to deal with it. I'm going to buy a K truck, and I'm just going to turbocharge it and drive that instead.
No, it's going to be classic mini DIY does mountain biking. That's what it's going to be.
Yeah. Classic mountain bike DIY.
This is how you bleed your brakes, and this is how you get a squeaky tire. Yeah. I can see it. It's going. It's fucking going. I can see it.
Oh man! Don't tell me.
Yeah, because we both don't have addictive personalities, Cole. That's thankfully we don't have that. That's good.
Yeah, that's definitely good. Yeah, I definitely haven't been riding my bike every single day.
Yeah, that's not happened. No.
So good.
Yeah. Alrighty then. Yeah, it's getting to that time. All right. So
I think.
Yeah, let's wind it up. Great to chat to everybody, and we're gonna have one again in the not too distant future. We'll let you guys know over the next week or two when the next date is scheduled, and we'll put it up there. We'll try and keep to a pretty regular schedule, I think, this year as well. It may not be exactly every month, but we'll keep them coming regular enough anyway, I think.
Yeah, a huge thank you to everybody who's joined us. We had a wonderful, I think this actually might have been our biggest stream yet. We had topping out around 67 people a few times. So for those of you who joined, thank you so much. It has been wonderful. For those of you who donated, Mr. Paul Jeffries, thank you so much. It's been wonderful talking with you guys and talking with you, Paul. So until I see you guys on the next one.
Yes, I completely concur, should I say. It was absolutely great to get chatting again. I really was excited, actually, this afternoon, thinking about coming and doing these live streams. Not that I ever haven't been before, but, it was just great I do love the community spirit, and I love getting to chat to everybody and see everybody, and, getting to chat with you as well, Cole, and put the mini ideas out there. I really enjoyed, by the way, the little thing we did on the mini. So just a word about that again. Don't forget to send your pictures, send your detail to the email addresses so that we can feature you on the next one. I already imagine that we're going to have hopefully a couple of cars sent in over the next couple of days. So myself and Cole will get those names into a hat and do a bit of shaky and pick somebody out for the next one.
Yes, a little shaky.
How about a shaky? Alrighty then.
Good.
Good to see you all. See you guys
And-
all on the next one.
Alrighty, later.